The $1 trillion question. How did this little known Chinese startup just potentially dethrone ChatGPT, tank Nvidia stock, and then spark a bunch of panic in Silicon Valley? Well, guys, here's the bombshell. DeepSeek's AI model rivals ChatGPT at 1/20th the cost using 90% fewer Nvidia chips, and it's free on the App Store. So the US giants like Microsoft, Apple, Meta, they're going to scramble to justify their billion-dollar bets in AI because China just came in with this Sputnik moment of rewriting some of the rules of the AI arms race. Now, Zuckerberg, as we know, has been burning $10 billion on 350,000 H100s. Now, DeepSeek is here reinventing physics, basically programming ChatGPT level IQ into models that run on gaming PCs. Now, this is a little bit better than AI. This is a full stack declaration of war in a way. So we're going to actually take a look here. This changes a lot. It's a little bit of a nightmare for Nvidia. Especially, we're going to talk about a little bit the US chip sanctions as well. Now, guys, before we get into it, we just wrapped up our live session at Market Open where we traded Rocket Lab stock, the stock that's not threatened by AI. In fact, they make their own microchips. We bought somewhere around $28, sold up here. I think I sold a little bit early around that $29.60 price point. We made a little bit over $200. It's selling back down. It almost looked like another buy there on Rocket Lab stock. And if you want to join us live in those sessions each and every day at Market Open, it's that second link down below. We have a sale there. I would encourage you to simply take a look. It's that second link. Can't miss it once you get through. Now, the first thing about this change is we could look at Nvidia and see that they're down. Let's find their stock. Where are they at? And we could just go to the biggest net change today, and we'd probably identify their ticker symbol pretty easily. Let's see. If we head over to maybe this other watch list, we'll get it. There it is. Nvidia's down 15% today. Absolutely slamming down after what was a huge announcement or a huge change in this. Wow, look at that break. We had previous trends that we were trading. We could look at now. It could be a little bit of an overreaction given that they're still running on basically Nvidia chips, but this is kind of a hardware play. So Nvidia is specializing in a lot of the hardware that's powering AI. Now, this is kind of like a jujitsu move for DeepSeek because DeepSeek AI, I don't know if you guys have seen it, it's number one on the App Store right now for productivity. It uses hybrid clusters of Nvidia A100s, domestically made, that basically from Huawei, they made Ascend 910B chips from Huawei to bypass the US exports controls. Okay, and then Flash Attention 3.0. So they rewrote CUDA kernels to optimize matrix multiplication for mixed hardware, cutting the GPU idle time by 40%. So in other words, they took what was Nvidia's hardware, and if we search it up, and their software, and they basically said, we're going to write these, we're going to rewrite this to optimize matrix multiplication for mixed hardware. So basically, they sparsed this so that it's not as 100% dense. It's only 15% of the neural network weight activate per input versus ChatGPT's dense 100%. So basically what that means is they have this architecture that they built into their code, this DeepSeek AI, okay? And now because they've built this and even used ChatGPT as a teacher to compress their model, they're able to run extreme amounts of data and do it extremely efficiently. So they have this secret sauce, if you will, DeepSeek. There's a few things that they use, right? Synthetic data engine generated 70% of training data via AI debates between their own models. So they basically debated models, and it was based on scraped web data. And then culture coded tokenizer, 128K vocab optimized for Chinese/English code switching. So they switch between Chinese and English and other languages. And then RLHF on steroids. So essentially what this means, guys, is Nvidia has this Achilles heel. We go over to Nvidia, and that is that DeepSeek comes in with hybrid software stack that proves that AI can scale on hardware that is not basically they're saying we can run our AI without all of the shebang from Nvidia. And this is a big deal because unlike a lot of the US companies in AI that are based on a massive amount of hardware from Nvidia, and unlike the US models that are also constrained to copyright data privacy laws, DeepSeek is trained on what is code that is kind of like pirated code. And so it's kind of this gray area of data that they have. We're going to see either a crackdown from the US, whatever that means. We could see a crackdown. We could see a chip war. But basically, we have to think about this in terms of like, this is kind of like a David and Goliath moment between the US and China for AI. And that AI that we were using, DeepSeek, was looking much better than what I've seen from ChatGPT. There's been some malicious attacks and things like that. So they say they're busy. I could open it up, but it basically looks just like ChatGPT, except it runs kind of better. Nvidia has been putting out chips that are extremely efficient, that is crushing it, and they're very, very good chips. But a lot of companies kind of lacked on the software side. It's kind of like quantum computers. Quantum computers, if you look at the companies, they build out these extremely powerful, extremely amazing computers, but the biggest struggle is like getting the software to use those computers to their maximum capacity. They went very, 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 very deep on the software, the Chinese did, and they found that they could get a lot more than what people are getting out of a lot more hardware with a little bit of hardware by really dialing in the software, essentially. And so what that means is good and bad. What it means is that the hardware isn't wasted that NVIDIA has been creating, because essentially we're just going to learn how to write even better software that is it's using even more capacity of the hardware. It's kind of like a software race. And then now you get to a point too where if you can make software that utilizes less capacity, but so it's like more efficient and you can run it better, the AI, then you're basically able to then tell that software to write more software. And if it gets that good, you get to a point where you're racing with your AI writing. Maybe you're racing with human writers, but it's also an AI, which AI can develop itself the fastest. The problem will be like synthetic data that will happen where, I don't know if you guys see, like they'll come up with answers. AI is just based on synthetic data. DeepSeek, they've created their own data from ways that could be seen. It's in a gray area. Basically, they're going to continue to innovate on this architecture, and so at this point, it seems like Nvidia is taking a big crash. We'll see how long it drops, how much more it will drop. But that's kind of the update. We kind of got a little techie there, but essentially, it's still holding this uptrend. Nvidia, I don't expect it to hold this uptrend, at least in the near term, because there's just so much volatility here. We don't really see it slowing down. It's kind of just dropping here. And so if it continues to drop, we could see Nvidia drop down. A lot of this is really driven by AI. Like this morning, we thought rather than invest in AI, let's invest in space. Some people short the market. I totally understand that. all power to you. Instead, we actually got in on Rocket Lab this morning. You can see this this dip that happened at market open, and we just took advantage of it. It was a nice dip, a nice support that it hit and bounced, and we purchased it. We're going to look for other opportunities like that. Outside of that, I don't encourage people to short the S&P unless you're doing it on a very short term, on a very, like, never would I hold a position shorting any S&P because you're shorting the US economy. While Nvidia is a big portion of the S&P, it will drive it down. It's still an extremely risky play, and I would encourage anybody to do it. However, if there is extreme momentum, something like that, we might take a very short position managed well in maybe inverse that is leveraged, like SOXL or SPXS, something like that is leveraged and could be inverse SPY. But if you're going to do that, you might as well just head over to Nvidia, NVD, I think probably NVDL. I think that's the inverse, or NVDQ is an inverse of Nvidia. And this one's up 31%. So basically, as Nvidia falls, this stock will go up, and it will go up and it also goes down the same. So if Nvidia goes up 1%, this stock goes down 2%. So that's very risky. It could be I wouldn't encourage anybody to do this without the right plan in place. So I'd encourage you guys to have the right plan. And again, think about this as, while it's risky going down, it's just going up, that you can get a great return and make money and get cash by doing that. It's just as easy to lose when it's high leverage like that. So you just got to be careful, especially in these types of moments. But we'll see at market open. I know a lot of you guys were wondering if we were going to do trades on the downside of this. Today, we just said, let's get the upside on some of the other markets that aren't affected, and we did that at market open. But we most likely will be looking for some of these potential opportunities to take advantage of as Nvidia sells off, or we see some sell-offs in the near term. I think that this is good. It establishes competition between countries, and if anything, we're going to see more innovation and more growth across the industry, and just more opportunities in the market. I would encourage you to check out the second link down below, Stockmate. Love to see you there at market open tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate y'all. If I earned your thumbs up, hit that like button. Do consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.